ML Nation, this is Simon Chin. I am super fired up today for our special guest because he is really, really special. Believe it or not, he's the only leader, only person in the whole universe that's been on ML Nation. This will be a record-breaking 4th time. Can you believe that? And
Whoa.
We have the one and only Jordan Adler. Hey, Jordan, are you ready to make it happen?
I'm ready to go, Simon. Absolutely, yes.
Hey, so ML Nation, this is 4th time. Jordan Adler first appeared on ML Nation episode 49, and then episode 300, and then 337. And then today, Jordan's going to talk about duplication. For those who don't know who Jordan Adler is, I think he's very important. He's been on the show many times. He's an amazing story. At 34 years old, Jordan Adler was living in an enclosed garage. His rent was $200 a month, and he had 2 roommates. He carried $36,000 in credit card debt, and his job paid him only $14,000 a year. But over the past 27 years, eventually he got started in network marketing, failed many, many times, I think over 9 or 10 times. But finally, he got it right. He became one of the top networkers in the world. He's earned over $20 million from his home-based business. His MLM business has over 500,000 customers. And today we're going to talk about the duplication that results in those customers. Jordan also, many of you know him, has wrote the best-selling book, Beach Money, which 100% of the profits go to charity. His book has been out for 9 years and still sells about 5,000 copies a month. A lot of you at ML Nation has reached out to me personally about Beach Money. And now he's launching the second book, which you will talk a little bit about today, called Better Than Beach Money, on March 7th. Jordan, aside from being a top networker, splits his time between 2 homes. He's got a top, really nice condo on the Vegas Strip, and of course, on the beach. Where else would it be, right? And then 2 years ago, Jordan, talk about inspirational. I just saw him make that commitment and do this. I saw him announce it on stage and actually talk about accountability, share it in front of a couple hundred people at the time, was he decided to get his helicopter pilot license for fun. He's also scheduled to become the first network marketer to travel to space as part of Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic Civilian Space Program. So anyway, Jordan, give you a long intro. But for those who don't know you, share a little bit about your background, how you got started in network marketing, and also your quote-unquote rags to riches, your instant success story. How's that?
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. You know, I picked up a book at a garage sale when I was in my 20s. It was called The 10 Napkin Presentations by Don Faila. And it was a quarter. The book was 25 cents, which, quite frankly, that book truly was worth more than my $60,000 college degree, because it was the first time that I ever heard the phrase residual income. And it got me thinking about being able to get paid lots of times for working one time. It was the first time that I had heard that concept. I didn't even know that it existed. And so after reading the book, I did go to college. I've got a degree in landscape architecture from the University of Illinois, moved from Chicago suburbs to Phoenix, Arizona, because there was a lot of building going on. And I got a job as a landscape designer getting paid, I think it was like, I don't know, $12,000 a year or something like that. It was really low. And I was drafting. And I started answering ads in the newspaper for opportunities. After reading that book, I realized that I needed to pursue, on a part-time basis, I needed to pursue a residual income. I wanted the freedom. Even in my early 20s, I wanted the freedom that came with a passive income after reading that. And so I started answering ads and going to different opportunity meetings. I joined a company back in 1981 called Dr. Hill's Potentized Spirulina. It was a algae supplement. That was my first company, and I was with that company for about 3 months. Talked to a couple of friends, both of them were negative, and I quit. And then about 8 months later, I joined my second company, and the same thing happened. That was a 3D camera company, and I didn't have any money. I mean, I was really broke, and so I had one credit card, and so I put my distributorship fee on there and bought my product using the credit card. And then I got another credit card, and I paid my bills on time and got another credit card. And over the next 10 years, I signed up with 11 different network marketing companies, never signed up one person, quit every one of them within 6 months. Most of them I quit within 3 months. And after 10 years, I had been in 11 companies, and I had made a total of 0. I'd sponsored a total of 0 people and gotten a total of 0 customers. And so I joined my 12th company in 1992. And that company, I sponsored 129 people in 13 years. and made $8 million with that company. It was a telecom network marketing company. And so they say, when opportunity and preparation come together, that's when things start to happen. So I was going to the seminars and I was listening to audios and I was reading books and I was meeting people that had done it. And, people ask me all the time, why did you stick with it? And the truth is I didn't stick with it. The truth is I kept quitting, but I did bounce back. And every time somebody would come to me with what I thought to be an exciting opportunity, I would join it and I'd work it for a few months. I'd learn as much as I could, and then I would get discouraged and quit. And I realized that that is really not a great model for success in network marketing,
What made you change in the 12th company? What made you decide, hey, no more quitting, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, it was probably a conversation that I had with Russ Devan. We never went into business together, but I knew that Russ was a multimillionaire in his 20s. Living in a big, beautiful home, what I consider to be a mansion in Scottsdale, Arizona, with a circle drive and a fountain out front. I think it was like an 8,000 square foot home, and he was in his 20s, and he drove a sports car, married with a little baby. And Russ told me in his office, he said, in the business of recruiting, you need to be prepared to personally sponsor 20 to 30 people to find one that's going to do anything worth talking about. And he said that you need to have a plan to do that. He said for every 30 people that you sponsor, a third of them will do nothing. That means 10 will do nothing. And there's nothing you can do to get them to work. A third of them will do a little. A third of them will do a little more than a little. And one out of 20 to 30 will go out and do something worth talking about. And he said, it doesn't matter if you're a recruiter in the fitness business, or if you're a real estate broker and you're bringing on agents, or if you're an insurance broker and you're bringing on agents. He said the numbers are the same regardless of the profession that you're involved in if it involves recruiting. And I found that to be true. I noticed that the top earners in network marketing, if you start asking them questions, you find out that most of them have been around their companies for 3 to 5 years or more. These are the big earners. They've sponsored over 100 people personally. So, some of them sponsor 1 a month, some of them sponsor 2 a month, some of them sponsor 3 a month, but they've got a total of 100 people plus. A lot of the top earners have 200 people plus personally signed up. They're consistent in the business, but what you find out is that their production, their volume comes from usually just a couple of organizations, 2 to 3 organizations. So if they've sponsored 100 people, they typically got 2 or 3 people that their groups are responsible for almost 100% of their volume. And so, I started working on my lunches at Coffee Plantation on Mill Avenue in Tempe, giving 3 presentations a week on my lunches. I'd go from my office at America West Airlines down to this coffee place. I'd grab somebody, sit them down, somebody that I knew. I'd invite them to come have coffee with me, and I'd show them what I was doing. And I did that 3 days a week, every week. So every month I'd show it to 12 people. My goal was to sign up 1 person a month, show it to 12 and sign up 1, and do that for 2 years. And so if I signed up 1 person a month for 2 years, I would have sponsored 24 people. And after 2 years, I signed up 19 in my first successful company. Signed up 19 people. And from those 19, my 16th person was a lady named Jackie Ulmer. Jackie was an analyst at the airline, married to an airline pilot. She signed up a woman in New Mexico named Judy Dubiel, who was a secretary and a student. Judy started inviting people into her home, and over the next 3 years, Judy's group grew to 12,000 distributors and 40,000 customers. Jackie was my 16th distributor. The first 15 either quit or became customers. And she was my 16th. And so of my first 19 people that I signed up, I only had 1. But that 1 was responsible for almost 100% of my residual income. Made me my first $1 million in network marketing, and then over the course of 13 years, I signed up 129 people, and I had 5 out of those 129 that were worth talking about. The other 124 either quit or became customers. And those numbers are the same for most top earners in network marketing. In fact, I've never met a top earner in network marketing that has more than 2. Like it's usually 3 out of 100 that actually produce significant volume in your organization. So when people come to me and they tell me they've sponsored 12 people and nobody's doing anything, and they're talking about quitting or thinking about quitting, that's a bad decision because they just haven't sponsored enough people. You need to be in the range of 20 to 30 before you can really start to evaluate, because that's when you start to see some action.
So good. While you're sharing that, I was like nodding my head and smiling because it brings back memories of when I was building in 04. One of the best advice was someone gave it to me was like 3% is a leader. Like what the number you just gave out, 3 out of 100. Like 1/3 would do nothing no matter what you do. You're going to slap them around. They're still not going to do anything. 1/3 would do a little bit, and another third would do a little bit more, but only one person would do it. And I think my first year, I had like maybe 30. I sponsored like 80 people in my first year, but I had like 30-something people. I remember at the 30-something mark, 32 of them quit.
Isn't that crazy?
I actually had 34 people my first year before I recruited, when I really started building. 34 people. One was my mom, who became a customer. 33 all quit, and then one guy became a leader that still builds a multiple six-figure income. Right, the rest
there's
all
a perfect.
yeah.
So, and Simon, I can talk to 10 top leaders in different companies, and they all have the same story as what you just shared.
Yeah.
So if you want a secret, that's one thing. Is understand. Russ taught me this. Russ taught me this lesson in his office. He said, if you want to, get a sense of it, go talk to a real estate broker that brings on agents and ask them, how many agents do you have to bring on to find one that's going to make $100,000 a year? They'll tell you that half the agents never sell a single home. Half never sell a single home. And only about 1 out of 100 in the real estate business actually make $100,000 a year or more. So, a lot of people get licensed. They spend thousands of dollars getting licensed to be realtors, and then they never sell a home. And yeah.
The 3% thing, it's so true. And it's, by the way, it should be, what I found out actually encouraged me. It didn't discourage me, because when I was like, for 50, 20 people, still no one's doing anything. 25, I would just say, keep going, the 3% rule. Right? As long as I keep going, sooner or later I'll find that. But because I read, my mentor told me the same thing that you shared with like 3%. And I went into sports. Like if you look at the NBA rosters, the baseball rosters, NFL, to be an all-star, like a first-team all-pro, is like 3-4%.
Right.
Like, and the NBA teams, exactly, or NBA is like first team, second team, third team, NBA. It's the top 15 players out of 450 players. And what is that? Yeah. 15 out of 4 is 3%. Right? It's really incredible.
Now, I think there's a little bit more to it. And the only thing that I would say to add to it would be, you want to look for the people. You always want to put fuel on the fire. So in other words, you don't want to spend time trying to get the people that aren't working. This is what most people do. They spend time trying to get the people that aren't working to go to work. And so all that time that they spend trying to prop up those people that are doing nothing is wasted time, because they're not bringing in new people. So you always want to be looking for, I always ask myself the question every day, even today, who's next? Who's next in my organization, and who's next outside my organization? Who am I going to show it to next? Who am I going to bring into the business next? I'm always asking who's next. And so I'm not throwing fuel. I'm not trying to throw fuel on those people that aren't working. I'm going to look for the people that are working, that are calling me, that are asking questions, that are showing up. That's my filter. Are they asking questions? Are they calling me? Are they showing up? Are they doing something? If they're doing things, then I'm going to go and I'm going to work with those people, and I'm going to help them bring in new people until I can find their new people that I can help bring in new people. So we're going to then work together and drive depth in that leg. And I'll drive a depth in a leg. I'll go down 10 levels, 20 levels, 30 levels deep, where I'll find somebody 30 levels down that's excited, that is engaged, that's doing something, and I'll offer to do an event for them, or to do a conference call, a Zoom call for them, because then they bring a bunch of people together, we do a call, and then that helps to drive depth in the group. And depth represents, in your network marketing business, depth represents security, and width represents income. So if you sponsor somebody that, let's say they sign up 30 people in 30 days, personally, they sign up 30 distributors in 30 days with customer. They become a customer and they are a distributor. And you sign up 30 of those in 30 days. Let's say you've got somebody that's really well connected. They're ready to go to work, and they go do that. Well, they're going to get a really big check. But that's a very volatile organization, because it's all personally sponsored. It's very brittle. It's very shallow. So that creates a big check up front, but it doesn't create security. You have to go wide before you can go deep. But in order to create security, you have to build depth. That's like anchoring your organization, going down deep in your organization. And the deeper you go in your organization, the more stable your income, the less volatile it is. So let's say you had like let's say you had just two legs that were, I don't know, 8 levels deep. But there's not a lot of branches coming off, but you got 2 legs 8 levels deep. Well, you'll get a nice little check. It's not going to be a huge check, but you'll get a little check that'll be consistent because you got it anchored. If you want a big check, you got to go real wide and real deep. And even if you're in a binary program, it really doesn't matter. Width and depth are it's. I know that in a binary everything's deep, but width just means that you've personally brought them into the business. You've personally enrolled them. Yeah.
And you got re-entries too in the binary, so you can technically you're still kind of building. You could build a little bit wide, right? But it's great advice. When you said that, it triggered me. Your first time you were on the show, I can't believe it was over like 3 years ago. I remember one of the big aha moments was you said, "Hey, once you sponsor someone, you say to yourself, who's next?"
Right.
You don't spend time wasting, this guy's going to be the next leader, because the numbers is only 3%. Chances are they're not going to do much. If they do, they just very little. And just reinforced, very inspiring. It's like you said, who's next? Let me see if this guy proved me wrong, but who's next? And you still recruit, 3 to 5 people a month. That's why you are where you are. You're looking for a leader.
2 to 4 people a month consistently. The kiss of death in the business, Simon, is managing people. It's working with people. So you want to become friends with people in your organization. That's great. But in terms of actually, you don't want to ever attach yourself to someone. If you can imagine, let's say you are a trainer of sailors. So you're going to train people to sail sailboats. If you tether yourself to someone's boat, they don't have freedom. They'll never have freedom, and neither will you. So you don't want to ever tether yourself to someone's boat. And I see that all over our profession. People are working with the same people for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. They've got a tiny, tiny, tiny team, and they're still working with the same people. That is the kiss of death. So if you want to be friends, that's great. If you want to go to the movies or go out and have dinner or whatever you do as friends, that's great. But in terms of building the business, you always want to be looking for who's next. Who are you going to put in the business next? Who are you going to show it to next? For yourself and for members of your team.
Now, I'm laughing because I made that mistake too, the kiss of death. When through the span of 2 years, my business didn't grow enough because I was working with the same person all the time, right? It was really time. But it's hard. It's because we like to be in management mode. We like to just do the easy stuff and just talk and hoping that person does something, but we don't do anything. We're not leading by example. Hey, really good stuff. Any other duplication tips to help? Because you have all this huge customer base. What else can you share?
So I look for key people and I look for key legs. So a key person is somebody, and I kind of mentioned this, a key person is somebody that does those 3 things. They're calling you, they're showing up. That means they're at the meetings, they're on the conference calls, they're registered for convention, and they're doing something. So they're calling you, they're showing up, and they're doing something. That's a key person. A key leg is a leg that has at least 4 people all in one line. Now, there could be people in between them, but at least 4 people all in one line that are all key people. So if you've got 4 people that are all in one leg, calling you, doing something, and showing up, then you've got a key leg. And when you have one key leg, it's like having a free car, because your car payment and your expenses for your car will be paid for by that key leg. In other words, when you have 4 people that are all doing something and calling you and engaged and showing up for the events and all those things, when you have 4 people in one leg, it's like having a free car. And then by that time you've been promoted, and when you get your second key leg, which might take 2 years, it might take a year or 2 years. When you have 2 key legs, it's like having a free car and a free house, because now your mortgage payment and your house expenses are covered by that second leg. When you have your third key leg, it's job replacement. When you have 4 key legs, it's a level of financial freedom. It's a level of wealth, rather, and then level of financial freedom, and then when you have 5 key legs, it's a level of wealth. That's where you've got a whole bunch of discretionary income. You're looking for ways that you can really serve people with your income, invest, upgrade your lifestyle considerably, all those kinds of things. 5 key legs. Now, you might have to sponsor 100 or 150 people over the course of 3 or 4 years to have 5 key legs, because you're not going to get every person your sponsor is not going to be a key leg. Most of them are going to fade into the sunset.
When do you start building a leg? After you make a key leg, after you got 4 leaders, then you can start building a new leg?
Yeah, so I'm always building a new leg. I'm never waiting. I'm not working in one leg and not doing anything else. I'm still always every month bringing in two to four new people every single month. So I'm always looking, again, who's next? I'm always looking for the next one. So, for example, I've got key legs that are really emerging now from people that I signed up 2 years ago. But I've also got another 50 personally sponsored distributors that I've sponsored over the past couple of years that some of them have signs of being key legs. They're not key legs yet, but they have signs. In other words, they're engaged, they're showing up, they're doing something, but there's just not enough people in the groups yet. So I can tell you, like I've got a guy named Gary Allen that's been with me for 2 years, and he's got about, 500 or 600 people in his organization. So it's not small, but it's not big. But he's definitely a key leg. Every single week, there's new distributors joining that group. And so I go to the event. We have little events here, and I meet his new people, and I'm always looking for who's next. Like, who's the person that is so engaged, not just excited about it, but they're doing something. They're registered for convention. They're on the conference calls each week. Well, he brought in somebody who lives in Colorado, a woman named Kayla, that's a realtor. He put me on the phone with her. So she's on my second level. I've got people down in that group on my 5th and 6th and 7th level, but she's on my second level, but she's a key person. She got promoted twice in her first month. So I know she's a key person. So now that's another new leg that started that could, and so we just booked a trip to go to Colorado to meet with all of her people, and we'll put it in front of a whole new people there, new group of people there.
Awesome stuff. Really good stuff. Hey, let's switch topics a little bit. You talk about duplication. Let's talk about, almost every listener here know about your book, Beach Money. By the way, if you don't, you definitely got to get a copy of it. It's one of the best-selling books in network marketing, Beach Money, by Jordan. Now, talk about your newest book, Better Than Beach Money. What was your vision, purpose? Why did you write that? And what's it about?
Simon, I am super excited about the new book. First of all, I want to say that as far as duplication goes, one of the greatest ways that you can duplicate in your business is to get, if there are good network marketing books that you love, get those books down into your organization. That's a way that you can really leverage your time. If you have a book that you love, promote the book, get it to people in your organization, and that will anchor your group, and it will create duplication. That's a piece that a lot of people miss. Promoting tools that in your group, it's leverage. It's like you can get 100 times more done by promoting a book or an audio series than you can trying to do it on your own. That's the first thing. But the new book here, hold on, I'll grab it. Take me 2 seconds. So I was sitting around a fire up in the mountains. I've got a place up in the mountains up here in Nevada with a group of friends, and one of them asked me. I'd gone through like 40 titles for the book, and I could not find a title that worked. It's just like they were all good, but none of them were like the right one. And Beach Money's done well. It's sold 600,000 copies. It's not the #1 book in network marketing. It was for a while, but it's not right now. But it's done very well, and 10 years later, it still continues to do well. So one of the people around the fire said, well, what exactly is the book about? And I said, the only thing I can tell you is it's better than Beach Money. And they go, better than Beach Money? And I go, better than Beach Money. So that became the title of the new book, Better Than Beach Money. So if you go on Amazon, you're going to see Beach Money, which is going to look very similar to this because I redid the cover of the original book. And it's got some the original book has been revised, and it's got a whole bunch of new chapters. So if you go and buy Beach Money, the first book, you're going to see a whole lot of new content in there and a new cover. And then this book, Better Than Beach Money, this book right here, it's only 90 pages. It's an easy read. Most people are reading it in one sitting. It actually doesn't start shipping until March 7th, but you can pre-order it now. And the book is about how a simple shift in focus can instantaneously change everything in your life. Most people are looking for their answers in the how-to. They'll come to the events. They'll be on the Zoom calls, and they'll take notes, and they're trying to figure out, what am I doing wrong, and what do I need to do to build the business successfully? And in my opinion, in most cases, they're looking in the wrong place because it's not about the how. In most cases, most people know that have been around for even a little bit of time know how to build a business. That's not the problem. The problem is what they're focusing on. So this book is just more stories. All chapters are like 2 to 4 pages, very short chapters. It's a fun read. I love the stories in this book. I'm super, super excited about it.
And it's like the small shift, just like for you. You had done 11 companies, all quit within 6 months, and then one shift. Hey, to get that leader, it took one out of the superstar leaders, 30%. Right? Most people won't do it. And that shift then totally changed everything for you.
Every single top earner in network marketing will tell you that it was a defining moment that changed everything. And if you think about what does that mean? Defining moment. Something that changed their perspective, defining, and it happened in a moment. It didn't happen over time. So this book is about defining moments. It's about looking for and discovering those events in your life that in a moment change everything. So what if you didn't have to wait for 5 years? What if you could do it now, like in a moment, like that? And it's all about just shifting your focus. Sometimes even just like 1 or 2 degrees can change everything. All of a sudden you see something that you didn't see before that was completely invisible to you before. So let me give you a specific example. I have a home in the mountains in Arizona as well, and a hummingbird got into my house. And that hummingbird flew right over to the window. And I was getting ready to leave for 2 weeks. And I was trying to get the hummingbird, they're very fast, and I was trying to get him to go out to the door. The door was wide open, but he was wanting to go towards the window, and it was flying against the window and really struggling. And I went in the kitchen and I got a pitcher and I tried to catch the hummingbird, but you can't catch a hummingbird. They're too fast. I tried for 2 hours to catch the hummingbird. They got a lot of energy too. Could not get that hummingbird, but I had to leave, and I knew if I left, that hummingbird would end up dead on the windowsill in my home. And so finally he got tired, and he sat up on the little rim of the pitcher, and I walked him outside, and he flew off. But if I hadn't gotten him out, he would have died. So one direction leads to struggle and death, and it's hard. The other direction is effortless. It's just a shift in focus. It's not that the hummingbird doesn't know how to fly. The hummingbird is a skilled flyer. It can fly backwards. It's probably the most skilled flyer of all birds. But because it was focused towards the glass, that represented struggle and ultimate death to that hummingbird. And that's what I see so many people do. They know how to do it. It's like the hummingbird knows how to fly. They know how, but they're struggling, and they're ultimately going to leave. They're going to quit because they get discouraged versus just shifting their focus. And that's what this book is about.
And I think the defining moment when you said that, I think a lot of people, the difference between the leaders, once you get the defining moment, they act on it without thinking too much about it. I think a lot of people, they get that moment. We all get these moments, invisible moments, but then we start thinking, is that the right way? Is it what's going to happen? And you talk yourself out of it, and then you basically screwed up everything. You lost everything, lost that defining moment. You end up being where you are again.
Yeah. And also I think you'll find that when you act on those intuitions that you have, and there's usually some fear. It's like if you can imagine the hummingbird flying in another direction, and that hummingbird's little brain, it's probably going, I'm not sure if I'm going the right way, because logically I should be flying towards the light, which is the glass, right? The hummingbird might question its destination, but you're going to find that once you take action, once you move towards that, everything changes, and you find out it wasn't as difficult as you thought. In fact, it was probably a lot easier than the way you were going about it. And no one could question this. There's not one person that's watching this right now, Simon, that could question this, that the top earners in network marketing, in every business, not just in network marketing, they view the world differently. They view the world differently than those that struggle. So it's really just like seeing what they see, being able to see the invisible. What's invisible to you, they see. And so how can you open up those channels, those opportunities for yourself?
Because what they don't see, the reason they can't see is a fear.
Right.
It's like what the hummingbird is scared to go the other way, but if we actually went the other way and embraced that fear, the answer would be so simple, right? Why the top earners can see what most people can't see, because they're willing to embrace the fear, do something scary, and then the solution is so obvious.
Yeah. Hey, and one more thing. In my original book, Beach Money, which is revised, the last chapter is, it's invaluable. It's priceless. The last chapter it's a new chapter in the original book, Beach Money, which is on Amazon as well. And that one is shipping. It's called Ask Jordan. So it's just a chapter, 21 pages of Q&A. And I love that chapter. It's got so much great stuff in it.
Awesome. So ML Nation, we'll put the link to Jordan's book on the show notes page. Just go to mlnation.com, search for Jordan. It'll pop right up. And also, you can just go to Amazon. Jordan Adler is one of the best-selling books, Beach Money. And stay tuned. You can pre-order Better Than Beach Money as well.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, Simon. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's always fun to have you on the show. As we wrap up, I know I've seen you've grown. You've seen ML Nation grown since we first had you on the show. I still remember, by the way, where you were sitting the first time. Because I know we had met. It took me a lot of follow-up to get you on the show the first time.
Right.
And that was so easy, right?
I didn't know you, man.
Yeah, I remember exactly where you're sitting. I was nervous, too. I was so nervous. I remember I went to workouts to be pummeled. I'm interviewing Jordan Adler. I still remember that. It was like June in 2015, exactly where it was.
You impressed me, Simon. When I met you, you did impress me. So where was I sitting?
You were sitting in the back at
at that event.
Where we met was at an event at the Les Brown event.
Where was you said you remember where I was
yes,
sitting?
you were sitting more to the left, where not this angle, to the left. You have a table to the right of you.
Oh, okay, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, you just came in.
So in the same condo. Okay,
same
cool.
condo in Vegas. And you showed me the view of your penthouse condo, everything. Yeah, I was like, it's cool, right. Jordan Adler. You just made me more nervous back then.
Well, I really appreciate your support of Beach Money, and congratulations on the success of your show and your seminars and everything that you're doing.
No, you make it easy and fun. Hey, before we let you go, some quick questions to pick your brain. Okay? So one of them, they may have changed over the years, but what is one of your favorite, or it could be a new quote? What is a success quote that motivates you?
Two things I would say. Well, one, the one I wouldn't say it motivates me, but it definitely keeps me on track. And even today, I still live by this. Don't quit on a bad day.
I love that.
We all have lots of bad days, and just don't let that day or that week knock you out of the business.
I remember you said that on the breather.
If you need to take a breather, do it, but don't let it knock you out.
I still remember you said on episode 49, the first show, don't quit on the bad. You can quit on the good day, but just not on the bad day. So good. What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
You know, this is going to sound crazy, but it's really taking care of my health. You know, and it's because it keeps me mentally aligned. And that means, I do yoga. I do hot yoga a couple days a week. I lift weights. I stretch. It just keeps me aligned. And, I see so many people that their lives are just like healthy. They're just like their lives are so much of a wreck that it makes it hard. Like, keep your environment, your personal body and your environment in good shape, because that keeps you in tune and keeps you, gives you the life necessary to have the energy to build a business.
Well, you dated yourself before early on the show when you told me what year you signed up in your first MLM. But otherwise, no one will guess your age. So you're doing a great job and keep taking care of your health.
Well, Simon, I actually turned 60 next month.
Incredible.
60. Yeah.
Really cool. That's very impressive, man. What's the best piece of advice you ever received, Jordan?
This is for network marketing. By far, the best piece of advice I've ever received is don't quit on. Only do what's worth duplicating. Only do what's worth duplicating. In other words, if you want your team to do it, you do it. If you don't want your team to do it, don't do it. And so this one, it sounds really simple, but even people that know it, I still see them doing things that they wouldn't want their team to duplicate. And so I think if you want your team to set appointments every day and schedule and do meetings, then inspire them by doing the same. If you want your team to be at convention, you be the first to register for convention and let them know. So you want to lead by example and do what's worth duplicating.
What's your favorite prospecting tool? So say like you have a qualified prospect right now. What, you send them a link to your online video? Do you have an app? Do you what do you?
Yeah, we use an app. I notice our connection's getting a little flaky here, but we use an app. We use an app, and then we also use a video, a little 3-minute video. I like those, and then also I found that from another perspective, the business card, not my business card, but their business card, is a great prospecting tool. And what I mean by that is when you go places where people have business cards, they throw them at you when you ask. So it's really easy to make a connection. People that have business cards love to give you their business cards. And once you have their email address and phone number, that's a great starting point for building a relationship. So it's really easy to meet people when you go places where people have business cards.
Do you have a favorite online resource like a Dropbox or Evernote or favorite app on your phone that you could recommend?
I do, but I really can't talk about it in this.
Okay, all right. It's your company app.
So, as far as my favorite app for business building, you know what? I can't think of one in particular that has helped me other than, maybe like some photo editing stuff. But no, I like Facebook. I use Facebook a lot, but that's pretty cliche, but that's what I use.
Aside from your books, do you have any other 1 or 2 books you could recommend?
Yeah, I love Todd Falcone's book, The Fearless Networker. I think is fantastic. It's very simple. Of course, I love Eric Worre's book, GoPro. I think that's an amazing book. I love Randy Gage's book, Making the First Circle Work. There's a whole bunch. Big Al Tells All by Tom Schreiter is fantastic. It's a very old book, but it's really still relevant today. Very simple, but very relevant. Big Al Tells All.
And here's the last question, Jordan, for the 4th time. The $1 million question. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
So imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one but your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to build an MLM business from scratch?
You know what? I want to get introductions to new people. So I'm gonna look online and I'm gonna find meetup groups. I'm gonna find networking groups, and I'm gonna get out into the community and start shaking hands and meeting people and getting business cards. Because then those people will introduce me to their friends and their business contacts. So that's how I'm gonna grow my network. I need to get a network very quickly. So I'm gonna go meet people that know other people that have good relationships with other people. Then they will introduce me. I'm going to build a relationship with them, and then they're going to introduce me to the people they know. You can meet 100 people in 1 week doing that.
As we wrap up, any last words of advice? And then what's the best way listeners can connect with you?
Best advice would be to keep dreaming. Most of us give up on our dreams. We start to rationalize our dreams down. We shrink our dreams to meet our income. That's a mistake. We were born to dream. Everything that we experience in life every day is a result of somebody's dream. So rather than living other people's dreams, how about living your own? There's a reason you have those dreams. So don't give up on your dreams. And then the way people can connect with me is beachmoney.com. Find me on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook, Jordan Adler. And then I am really looking forward to having you read the new book and the revised book. And Simon, again, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to you for having me on your show.
MLM Nation, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And today, you've been hanging with a rock star, Mr. Jordan Adler. So keep up the momentum. Go to MLMNation.com and just type in Jordan, Jordan, at the search bar. And the show notes or the nuggets of wisdom and the links to Jordan's new book and his other old book, Beach Money, and Better Than Beach Money, will be right there. Hey, in order to be successful in life and in network marketing, you must help others. So, Jordan, thanks again for sharing your valuable time over and over again with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you. We appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, Jordan. God bless you.
Thanks, Simon. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.